Hi guys, I hope you're doing well and welcome to my January wrap up, what I read in January. So, I've read a total so far of 8 books. I'm looking at my bullet journal, which it's over like 2 pages, which is very annoying. I've read a total of 8 books. I'm currently reading my 9th and I'm hoping to finish it today, but we'll talk about that towards the end of the video. Yeah, so let's just jump straight in because there is 8 books to get through. So the first book I read was Incan Bone by Rachel Kane. I absolutely love this. I have like some little things that I wrote about the books that I'm going to attempt to read, so if I'm looking down, that is why. I ended up loving this book the more that I got through it. So like from the beginning it was kind of like, okay, what's the point of this? And then when you get to like halfway through, you kind of, well, I'd say I'm more about like a quarter of the way through. Yeah, about a quarter of the way through, you're kind of getting to the point of the book. And I mean, a quarter of the way isn't very far, like it's this point of the book, so it's not very far at all. So yeah, the further along the book got, the more I enjoyed it. This ended up with 4 stars, just for reference for how much I love this book. Yeah, I'm just gonna stand my journal up so I can actually read it. 1 second. Here we go. So yeah, then I really enjoyed the characters. From the beginning, especially with Jess, I feel like he wasn't very fleshed out, but by the end, like, you cared so much about him and you wanted to learn more about him, and I absolutely loved that. I loved how they grew into themselves and become who they should be and who they want to be throughout the book, and I absolutely loved that. One of the characters in here, it's kind of a spoiler, I think, for a part of, it's not like a massive spoiler, he's just a character that appears. Yeah, so the character Thomas in this book, he is one of my favourites. He's a side character, but he's also kind of like a main character. It's a bit weird. He's not like he's told from the perspective of Jess. Well, it's like following Jess, but then like Thomas, it becomes like one of his best friends, and I absolutely love Thomas. He is amazing. He's one of my favourite characters of the whole book. And I love the idea around like the library and everything. This book follows okay, I'll just read like the top part of here because it just expresses what this book is. In a world where the ancient Great Library of Alexandria was never destroyed, knowledge now rules the world, freely available but strictly controlled. Owning private books is a crime. And by private books, from what I can gather from this first book, it means like first editions of books. So they reprint books. I can't remember the specific term that they're called, but it's not like a reprinted or an edition or anything like that. It's like a book that doesn't have any meaning. Like, you can have it, you can read it. I think it's called a blank. I think that's what they're called. So you can have a blank, which is just a book that is like a copy. That's what I get from this book. Like, a blank is a copy of an original work, but you can't own the original, from what I can gather. And blanks like have no meaning to anyone. No one cares about blanks. That is what I get from this, but to fully understand, you'd have to read it. Like, that sounds so stupid, but it's so true. Okay, the second book I read this month was Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. Again, I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book, and again, it was a book that like progressively grew on me. This book follows a character called Amani, and she is working to have her freedom. She wants to move away from the village that she's living in, and become her own person, really. She's very controlled in the village that she works in because she's a female. So this is based around females being nothing. They are they're just nothing to the world. They can't do anything, they're not considered useful in any way. And obviously Arwen is a female and she lives under these strict rules where she can't do anything. And this is about her wanting her freedom. She's been saving up and working to try and get away from this village and try and go and live with her aunt, I think it is, her auntie. And yeah, I loved all of the characters. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love the characters. This was a very, very fast-paced book with magical elements towards the end of the book. I'm not gonna spoil you for any who's magical or anything like that. Just there are magical elements from, like, I'd say maybe just past the halfway point. Like, the first point is like them getting to where they need to be, and then like the second half is like when it starts all kicking off, which this is a setup book for a series. Like, you can understand the first half of the book being relatively slow, but it wasn't slow. It was very fast paced, for me at least, and even though it was just a lot of traveling, it was still very fast paced, and I absolutely loved this book. This is possibly one of my favourite books, and it was 4 stars. There were some things problematic for me, like just the fact there was a lot of travel. Maybe the travelling could be cut down a little bit, but other than that, absolutely love this book. The third book I picked up was Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This is very complicated for me because this is basically my name. However, the E in my name is an A. My name is Adrienne. This is Adrienne. It's very complicated for me. I see it and immediately want to say my own name, and it's not my name. By Adrienne Young. This is about Vikings, and I gave this book 5 stars. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love this. I cannot pronounce the names, so if I butcher them, I am sorry. But we are following Ellen, coming to terms with a major plot spoiler, so I'm not going to mention what she's coming to terms with, but she has to come to terms with this thing that happens whilst she's in a battle. Essentially, once every 5 years, I think it is, these two Viking clans come together and fight, and in one of these, nope, that's a spoiler. Yeah, and in one of these she gets captured and taken to the enemy clan's village, and stuff happens from there, and I absolutely love this book. I am quite sad that the second book doesn't follow these characters because it's such a short book. It is 332 pages, and there was a romance in here that I am absolutely here for. I just love like an enemies to lovers trope. It's just my favourite trope. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I've put in my journal that I love the 2 people who end up together, and I'm not going to say who it is because it's a spoiler for who captures her. Yeah, this is one of my favourite books. This, I reckon, will be on the top of my list of favourite books of the year. Okay, the next books I have, I don't actually physically have to show you because they were ebooks, and I've already given them back to Amazon, which sounds weird. I have Kindle Unlimited, which essentially means that you can borrow up to 10 books at a time, and I was stupid, and after I read them, I immediately gave them back and forgot about showing you guys the things, but I will link them in the description box to Goodreads. So the first book I finished, I didn't read the entirety of. I read the last 92 pages of Into the Hourglass by Emily R. King. I gave this book 3 stars. I enjoyed the storyline, but it took me a while to complete, and I think that was why it was 3 stars, because I read it in November, and I started reading it in November, and then there was a big gap, so the whole of December and most of January I just hadn't read it. So I think I think that's why I gave it 3 stars. I did really enjoy the storyline. I think it just got kind of repetitive. It was very similar to the first book in the fact that they are chasing after the same guy and trying to get stuff back from him. Like, that is basically the entire premise of the storyline. I think I will read the final book in the series, but I think I might leave it a couple of months just to let myself digest the fact that the second book was very similar to the first one. But I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed the storyline of the first one, which I believe is why I enjoyed the storyline of the second one, but it just wasn't the best for me because it was obviously something I've already read by this author. So, the other ones I read, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, a very unpopular opinion. I read Saga Volume 2 and gave it 2 stars. I didn't enjoy it. Not a lot happened throughout the volume, and the main storyline is this couple have been hunted. That is basically the whole thing that happens throughout the whole of the volume, and it's 171 pages. So I was expecting more to happen because it's a graphic novel, you can fit more in. So I would just assume more would happen. I don't think I'm going to continue with the series. I'm just not enjoying it. I don't think I might have given the first one 5 stars. But this second one, it felt like a filler book to me, or a filler graphic novel to me, and I just didn't enjoy it. I just figured you could just add more to it, really. I wasn't really a fan. Moving on. I read another graphic novel, and I read Miss Marvel Volume 1 No Normal by G. Willow Wilson. It had a good start to the series. I gave this volume 3 stars. It had a good start to it, however I did feel like the main character and her friends accepted. If you don't know, Miss Marvel is part of the Marvel universe, so it's obviously superhero based, and it's like the first story of this person getting her superpowers, and I just feel like her and her friends just accepted what was happening to her way too quickly. It was literally like the beginning, she wasn't happy with her life. The second chapter, she gets her powers. The third chapter, she's accepted it and she's ruling the world. Like, that is literally it. And I enjoyed the storyline, I enjoyed it, and I probably will pick up the second volume, but I just feel like that was a bit of an issue for me. I just didn't feel like she was taking it seriously. I feel like, I don't really know. I just didn't enjoy the fact that to me, if something like that happened, you wouldn't just accept it within like a day. You would question it, you would do research on it. I mean, she did a little bit of research on it, but it was, again, still within a day. She was like, okay, this is my life now. I wouldn't accept it that quickly. I just feel like it was a bit unrealistic. Anywho, the fourth ebook that I read this month was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander. Sure. Newt Scamander. I always want to say salamander, and I don't know why. Anyway, moving on, which was obviously written by J.K. Rowling via the character of Newt Scamander. I loved this book. I gave it 4 stars. It was obviously very basic in the fact it was literally just each of the fantastical beasts and what they are, where you find them. It's literally that, and it was amazing. I flew through it. I read the end of Into the Hourglass, Saga, Miss Marvel, and Fantastic Beasts in one day. Just putting that out there. It was my biggest reading day. I will just show you. It was this day where it goes off the charts, and I read 555 pages. Like, I went insane that day, and I read like the first 12 pages of the next book as well, so yeah. It was an intense reading day, but I absolutely loved it. So Fantastic Beasts was very nostalgic. I absolutely loved it, and I think that's why I gave it 4 stars, just because of the nostalgia. It was a very basic read, but it was also very enjoyable, especially if you are a Harry Potter fan like myself. I have my Hufflepuff jumper, and you can obviously see my Hufflepuff flag. I am a massive Harry Potter fan, so if you're a Harry Potter fan, I feel like it's something you will love. If you're not, then it's kind of pointless you reading it, to be fair. I did read it. I read a lot of these for the Winter Magical Readathon by G from Book Roast. She hosts the Magical Readathons. I wasn't able to do them in December because I was revising for an exam that I had in January. So I'm doing them now. I'm not doing them in order. Hate on me all you want. I'm not doing them in order. But yeah. So Fantastic Beasts was for a book that was published in 2001. The book itself was published in 2001, but I read the illustrated version because that was all I could get on Kindle, and I couldn't afford to buy the actual physical book because I bought 9 books this year already. So I did just get the illustrated version, which wasn't published in 2001, but the actual standard book was. So I'm counting it. Sue me. Okay. The final book I've actually finished this month is a beast of a book, and I am so happy that I finished it. I laughed, I cried, all sorts. I have mentioned this in my reading vlog, and I've also linked it in my reading vlog, and I will link the reading vlog in the cards if you haven't seen it already. But yes, I read the entirety in a week and a day of Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. I finally finished the series. It's taken me 2 years to finish the series. I absolutely love this book. I utterly adored it. I love Queen Aelin, and spoiler if you've not read the series, but if you haven't and this is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. The Throne of Glass series is a competition to become the King's Assassin. That is essentially the first book in the series, and this is the last book. This is 20 pages, under 1,000 pages, and I read it in a week, so I'm pretty impressed with myself, to be honest. There's not really a lot I can say about this because it's the final book in a series, other than I utterly loved it. The characters are amazing. The happy... I don't even want to say that. Yeah. It just made me so happy, and I was talking whilst I was reading it to people in a Discord group chat that I'm in, and I was just gushing and been like, you need to read this series because it's absolutely amazing and I absolutely love it. Yep, pretty much. And I was crying, and some of it was happy tears, some of it was sad tears, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, 5 stars, obviously 5 stars, 5 stars, 10 stars if I can give it 10 stars. That is that. The book that I'm currently reading, you will not be able to see because it's been difficult. It is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I'm reading it on Libby, so it is also an ebook. I was very surprised when I went on Libby. It was just there as like, you can have this now, and it's not on hold or anything. I mean, it is now, and I'm reading it now because someone wants it from me once I've finished reading it, so I don't want to have to re-borrow it and then make the person wait again. So I'm reading that now, and I'm enjoying it. I have 120 pages left, and I'm really hoping I can finish it tonight. I'm not gonna lie, I am super hoping I can finish it tonight. Yeah, okay. So that is that. I've obviously not finished reading that. I am loving it so far, and I reckon it's going to be about a 4-star read. Yeah. I will finish it this month though. We're on the 29th, and obviously Friday, and so on Wednesday the 29th, it's obviously Friday is the last day of January, so I will finish it before the end of the month. So that is another book counted. I will just once I've finished it, I'll edit the description and I'll add it to the description. Yeah. Anywho, I'm holding this book up, and you're probably thinking, you haven't mentioned you've read this. I read half of this. I literally got to the halfway point of this book and DNF'd it, which is very sad for me. I love Julie Kagawa's writing. The writing style, I absolutely love. The content, not so much. I love the idea of the kitsune, I love the idea of this mythology and all of that. However, I don't think it was executed very well. Up to this point where I stopped, this is where my index card is, and then obviously the bookmark is at the next chapter. Up to that point, we have had a couple of small encounters and a hell of a lot of travel and a conversation every now and again. Like, it, and that's like 239 pages of just walking and every now and again having a conversation. It was just boring to me, so I DNF'd it, and I'm quite mad because I have the other book here with me as well. So I don't hate it, and I might pick it up again at some point, but for now, we're done with that book. I'm not a fan. So yes, this is the physical of what I read in the month of January. I finished reading 8 books, 9 once I finished reading The Queen of Nothing. And yeah, it was an amazing reading month for me. I normally average about maximum 4 books, especially when I'm at university. I'm currently filming a university week of reading, and yeah, I never really read as much as I have this month. I think it's because I had literally from, what week was it? From the 13th of January to like the 17th of January, I literally read Incan Bone, Rebel of the Sands, Sky of the Deep, and then the 3 ebooks, the 3 full ebooks, and the end of the ebook. Like, it was immense how much I managed to read in that week. It was immense. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good reading month. Tell me down below what you managed to read. If you do want any extra information for any of these books, I will do some research for you and tell you in the comments. Just leave me a comment. I will also link the books that I've read down below in the Goodreads, so you can see like my rating, any comments that I made on it on Goodreads. It's not much more than what I said here, but there is a little bit more detail, so if you want a little bit more detail, it's on there. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.